Hello, I hope everyone can hear me. Welcome to LoveWorkLife Training Academy. Welcome to all the early birds, Walter, Tracy, Stain, Shannon, Scott Stevens, Sasha, Robert, Rona, Nick, Liam, Kirsty, Kevin, Jordan, Jenny, Jackie, Graham, Daniel, Danny, Catherine, Ashley, and the list starts going on. It's growing by the second, so I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to get everybody in, as we're meant to start at 1 o'clock, and we're on the 2 minutes too. But thanks for tuning in. I hope you find the course helpful. I hope you're enjoying the sunny weather out there. It seems to be very nice. Certainly up in Leeds, it's lovely today. It's nice and hot. So at least there's something nice and cheery to go about. If you can hear me, drop me a line. If you can't hit me, obviously you can't hear me. If you keep on yourself on mute, it'd be much appreciated so we don't get any feedback. And we'll start in just over a minute. Okay, that's good. So we'll start to run through. So welcome, Abby, Adriana, Jenny, good to see you. Okay, so let's kick off nice and early. So we're sort of people joining in as we start. If you can hear me, people have started to drop through saying they can hear me, which is good. So happy to do that. Just been asked for someone where they can send a link to them. So just give us 2 seconds because someone else wants to join in, which is always good. So the idea of today is what I want to do is I want to talk through building a permanent desk during times of a downturn. Now, it's unprecedented times, but having been in the recruitment market for just short of 30 years, I've seen a number of downturns, and I've seen a number of different ways that people have come back and built their businesses and built their desks. So what I want to sort of look at is very pointedly, first and foremost, is I'm going to look at the building of a permanent desk just in normality. I've run these courses on numerous occasions with lots and lots of different people from billing zero, new into the marketplace, to people billing 300, 400K plus. And what they always find is they always find something that they're not doing or something that they forgot. And then what I want to do is then link that back into, during a downturn, how you have to change things and how after you build things to make sure that you survive the downturn. There's lots of things that you can be doing that maybe you don't normally do. And what we talk about very often is what recruiters tend to do is they work on what things are urgent rather than things that are strategically important. So that's what we're going to go through. We're going to go through all these things and look at those as we go through. If you have questions, fire them out to me. I'll try and answer the questions towards the end of the presentation. However, I'm one person running the presentation today, not the usual two of us, so I can't type and probably talk at the same time and give you the attention that you need. So I'll try and answer the questions towards the end if that's okay. So let's kick off. So the objectives of today, or the first part of the course, is what I want to look at is I want to look at product, what we're going to talk about the product. I want to look at pitch and what we can do with pitch, okay? Profiles, how we deal with our profiles, publicize, what we need to be publicizing out there, partnership, and then finally, I want to look at process. I'm going to look at this quite distinctively all the way through the recruitment process and how those P's actually interconnect with each other and bring you further forward. So the first thing we're going to look at, okay, and as everyone's on the internet, everything seems to be a little bit slow, is we're going to look at product. So product is really important to me. Product is the thing that we need to sort of work on. And in any type of market, when you start to build a recruitment market, you need to look at your niche and what your niche market actually is. And I think at this time in the environment, we can start to think about, is our niche the right niche? Could I change niche? And what should I do if I do want to change niche? What can I change that niche to? So once we've decided on a niche, we need to look at what the technical high demand is. Look at the technicality of the niche. Is there high demand in that niche? And if there is high demand in that niche, how are we going to farm that niche to make it there? We can then look at the geographical area of that niche. What that niche actually looks like geographically. Is it good for a local market, a national market, an international market? What does it look geographically? What does your candidate spread look like geographically when you're going through that market? The final thing that I want to look at is industry. What type of industries are using that niche? What type of industries pick up that niche? Because again, you can start to look at, when you start to do some due diligence on the actual business, you can start to look at things that are really important, such as the number of clients. The number of clients in your niche is important. If you've only got a fine number of clients, then the niche is very, very narrow. Is there enough clients there to actually make any money out of, or not? If you've got lots of clients, what are those clients doing within that niche, and how do those clients look when they sort of work from that niche? So obviously, to have clients, you need candidates to feed your clients constantly to make sure that when you build that niche, you have product constantly that you can flush through your books and push in front of your clients. So again, you need to look at the type of candidates that are out there available. Are they new skills, old skills, up skills? Are they skills that are dying? What are our candidates doing? How easy are they attainable to you? How easy can you interview them, either face-to-face or electronically, as we can do at the moment? Okay, what are we doing to build our niche? The other thing we want to look at is the amount of competition that's out there. And I've put there complacent competition. It's interesting when I start to look at niches for some of the clients that I work with and the agencies that I work for when I'm mentoring, and we start to look at their niche and we start to look at their competitors. If their competitor is complacent and just basically a bum on a seat recruiter looking at contingency recruitment, what can we offer that's better than that complacent competitor? Because there's an opportunity there to take market share from your competitors just by looking at what they're doing and what's going on. And the final thing is what we talked about is obviously the longevity of the market and what scope is there within that marketplace to keep building your product. So the next thing we need to look at when we start to look at product is very simple. If my mouse would work, it'd be very simple. We've got to look at product. Hang on, guys, we seem to have frozen for some reason. Oh, there we go. So we need to make sure that when we start to look at product, we have to build a candidate database first. It's interesting at this time where we are looking at what's going on in the marketplace and we're working from home. Clients are stopping recruitment in huge scales at the moment. Some clients are still recruiting, but we still need to make sure that we own our candidate database. So the first thing we talk about product is we've got to build a candidate database. At this moment in time, it's a great opportunity to really take market share by understanding every single candidate in the marketplace. We've got to make sure that we have our CRM compartmentalized into our niche. There's no point putting a candidate onto your CRM if you can't find them. And it's interesting, the stats coming out that 6 out of every 10 placements made every year are actually people that are already logged on their CRM. However, they've procured that candidate 2 or 3 times through the advertising on job boards, through LinkedIn, etc., because people don't really use their CRM, because basically it's not compartmentalized enough, which means that you can't actually sell or can't find people on your CRM. So it's important that we work really hard compartmentalizing the CRM. We've got to look at the passive market. Build daily and know intimately is what I always say. It's interesting when I go to certain clients and I start talking to them about the passive market. Yes, they've got lots of passive market candidates on their CRM, but they're just not engaging with them. They're not engaging with them at all. However, these candidates know your product, they know your service, so we should know them intimately. You should be able to name candidates instantly and intimately who are available or interested in potential roles that you have coming on. And if you don't know that, it means you do not know your marketplace. And if you want to really dictate your marketplace from a permanent point of view, The more candidates that you know, the more candidates that you are introduced to, the more influence you have over the marketplace. So it is really important to know your candidate marketplace intimately. The active market is very interesting. Lots of recruiters are happy to take a job, put a job on a job board, and wait for the active market to come back to them. And fair play to them. Good luck to them if they're going to recruit in that manner, is what I say. However, if you own the passive marketplace, you have to also own the active marketplace, because a passive candidate will become an active candidate at some time. So you've got to think about it in the cycle that's going through and what's going on in the candidate's mindset and how the candidate actually thinks about their role when they are looking to exit a business, and whether they are looking to exit a business is something that you should know. So if you're constantly in contact with your passive marketplace, you will know what the active marketplace looks like, but you need to fish in both. So you need to make sure that you're constantly driving straight to your passive marketplace when you get new jobs on, but you're looking at active candidates constantly for what's going on. CV stripping is very old school. However, when I'm going into new clients at the moment in time, I'm looking at the sort of younger recruiters, and they seem not to be stripping information off CVs. They seem not to be taking the relevant information that they could use to help build a candidate marketplace as well as a client marketplace. So CV stripping every time you speak to a candidate is really important. But it's not just when you speak to a candidate. It's if you look at any single candidate during the day, the information on their CV is paramountly important to your growth of your client base. If you don't know who that client is, then there's an opportunity for you to build a new client. That candidate could lead you to other candidates. So who else could they lead you to is really important. So CV stripping becomes absolutely paramount. I talk about interviewing candidates constantly, and obviously it's interesting. I'm on GoWebinar at the moment, and I was speaking to the GoWebinar people on Monday as I had a technical problem, and their market has increased in the last week and a half by 800%. I said about 2 years ago on several speaking events that I was presenting at that there's a digital wave coming, and you have a choice as a recruiter to swim out into that sea, ride the wave, and hope that you survive with what's going on. Or you could be a recruiter that just sits on the beach and wait for that wave to crash over them and wash them away. Well, unfortunately, coronavirus has accelerated that wave massively quickly, and therefore interviewing candidates face-to-face now is so important, because you can interview them face-to-face physically, but you can also interview them face-to-face via video. And therefore you can get a far better understanding of your candidate by seeing them face-to-face or via video than you can ever get over the phone. So it's important that you carry on interviewing candidates and working very hard with candidates. Interviewing candidates over the phone is good, okay, especially if it's a quick fill, a quick placement, okay, and you know the person, great. But really, if you're building a passive marketplace and you're really building a candidate base that can really dictate your place in the marketplace as number one, you need to be speaking to all your candidates on a face-to-face basis, or at very least via video. We've got to look at quality and qualifying your candidates thoroughly. The more qualified your candidate is to undertake the position, and the more you know about your candidate, the better it is to place the candidate in the right client. If you get a reputation for putting CVs in front of clients that hit the mark, and then when they interview, they are miles away from the mark, clients will soon get wary of that and won't be taking CVs from you. However, if you start to put CVs in front of clients, and clients absolutely know full well that they're going to hit the mark, you'll start to be able to create opportunities with those clients, because you know what the client actually truly wants rather than what they think they want, and supplying what they truly want is really important. So knowing your candidates thoroughly is really important. We talk about marketing candidates out, and I always say market your top 20% of your candidates out daily to your clients. So whatever new candidates you get on that day, market the primary candidates out to your top clients. Obviously, in this marketplace, it may be slightly different to do that, but it's working on with the clients that you have and understanding what the clients are doing that's going to be important. And I'm going to talk about that a lot later in this podcast. Market your candidates, or market to your candidate database. it's very interesting. We've talked quite a lot over the last year or so about how marketing in the recruitment industry has changed hugely. And what we find is that what people are very good at is putting daily posts out on social media. And agencies are getting better and better and better at this. You need to engage with your candidate marketplace. And remember, if you walked into a pub and I said to you, could you differentiate between who's a candidate and who's a client in there? You can't. So that means your daily posts should be attracting candidates and clients to you, making you a font of knowledge in the marketplace. So you've got to really drive your daily posts out there on social media constantly. However, the bit that we absolutely, for some reason, do not market to is our CRM. So either a weekly or daily post out to your candidates on your CRM about what's going on. So industry news and exclusive jobs that you've got on can be really interesting, because those candidates, as we've said, already know who you are. So bringing those candidates back to you is really important. So you've got to work really hard at marketing to your CRM, because they're the candidates that you're speaking to more often than not. Therefore, marketing to them means they become more sticky to you, and they're likely to accept your call more readily when you call about jobs. So doing that, you've got to be speaking to your client base, your candidate base monthly. If you think about your top 200 client candidates constantly, and you work on your top 200 candidates and you work hard through them, that's just 10 candidate calls a day to candidates that you know, plus other calls that you're making. If you have that type of in-depth knowledge of your marketplace, you should never go short of candidates to actually place into a client. So you've got to work hard marketing to your database and speaking to your candidates daily. So that moves on to pitch. Okay, so pitch is very, very simple. Okay, you have to have knowledge. Before you pitch a client, you have to have knowledge. So therefore, understanding what your candidate's saying about the marketplace, your candidates are saying about each individual client and what they're doing at each individual client now becomes really important when you're stripping information out of candidates and stripping their CV, because you can now regurgitate that knowledge back to your client. In this marketplace, if you understand your client thoroughly, and again, I'm going to push onto this later in the webinar about what we should be doing, then it is important that when we understand our client, we can meet their emotional needs as well as their recruitment needs. And that is really important in this day and age, that we're reaching their emotional needs and not just their recruitment needs. And so knowledge of the marketplace and what's going on is really important. So you should know who to target. So I always think when you start to build a candidate database, you start to then strip clients out. So who do you target? Who do you know that's really good within that marketplace? We need to think about what your client base actually wants. Do they want a contingent recruitment supply, or do they want retained recruitment supply? And what's the difference between the pair of them? So when you first start building your database, it's hard to tell the pair between. But when you start to really understand what your client wants, you can then start to engineer a sale to them that will absolutely ensure that you can get a better percentage of their recruitment than your competitors, because you'll be able to offer better solutions. So knowing which clients take retained and which clients do contingency is really important, and understanding why they take them in that fashion, again, is really important. Knowledge, as I say, is key. But what I'm saying by knowledge is the candidate knowledge. If you can start to mention candidates that they potentially know, candidates that may have worked for them in the past, candidates that are working for their competitors, then they start to understand that you have got a real good handle on the marketplace. So by mentioning people to them that they potentially know, again, you're using that common bond, that common link. You know this person, I know this person. It brings you closer to that person. So having knowledge of your candidate database and using that knowledge expressively with your clients, again, is important. Knowing your company USPs is really important. A client will want to know why you are different to all your competitors. And I can tell you now, all your competitors are probably saying the same things that you are saying. So why are you different? And I link that back sometimes to the mission statement. If your mission is to be the best recruitment agency in this marketplace, then so is every other recruitment agency. We want to be the best at this, the best of that. But if your mission is to be the most candidate-centric, the most client-centric, the one that provides everything to their clients and their candidates, and your USP align that mission statement, because it's all about them, your client is more than likely going to buy from you. If your USPs is all about you being the biggest agency and etc., 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 then what does that actually mean to the client? Make the USPs more personable. Make it about the client, not about you, and make it so the client understands what that is actually going to give to the business. So target clients. Okay, so when you're building your database, you should look for what we call cash cows. Cash cows are being those clients that take 20 or more permanent placements per year. If you can find clients like that and you can survive off clients like that, then you're in a really good position. However, they are a long-term sell. It takes a long time to break into clients like that, and then the work that you have to do to get into that client is really, really time consuming. So you've got to think about your time versus money, what's going on, and how do you manage that? And again, when we talk about the second part, how we're going to link this to building this in the market today, then we're going to look at that completely. You've also got to start to look at what we call cash calves. Those clients that take anything from 5 placements up to 20 placements a year, they have the potential to either stay where they are or potential to grow big. So how do you build that client base? How do you know who those clients are? Again, it's from your candidate database that you do this. So if you've got a good list of cash calves and a good list of cash cows, and you're focusing your recruitment on them and you're pitching to those clients constantly, you'll start to grow a number of clients that might give you 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 placements every year. And if you've got 10 placements that give you 5 placements every year, that's 50 placements a year. Wow, that's 4 placements a month. That's a huge amount of placements. But if you can use that methodology, then all of a sudden you're in a better position. So that means pitching every day, and that means working at your pitch constantly to make sure you're cultivating cash calves and cash cows. I'd rather have 10 cash calves than 1 big cash cow, because if you lose that cash cow, then you're in problem. But I want cash calves that potentially can grow into those cash type of cows, which means that you can expand your desk and expand your business. And that's all about building loyalty with your client base. And the more loyalty you build with your client base by offering them something different to your competitors and bringing them candidates that they don't normally see in the marketplace and being honest and open with them, means that you'll be able to create a far-reaching relationship with your client than before. Networking with your client market is really important, and more agencies I'm seeing doing this constantly, where they're building, and I'll talk about meetups later on, but they're building meetups where they're bringing clients together, because clients know clients and they talk together. And if you're the person influencing that marketplace, then you become an influencer in the marketplace. So ask your clients to network yourself into other clients, because that means that you can start to grow your marketplace. But also think about cross-selling in their own businesses and working from there. And the big thing that I see lots of recruiters, even good recruiters, do, and this is the reason why main permanent recruiters in the UK only place 2 out of every 10 placements they get on, is because they are afraid to sack clients. There's that fear of missing out. Well, what if that client, what if I place in that client? But if that client is wasting your time, sack the client. So therefore, you've got to understand your figures really well about how many CVs you send to that client, how many interviews it takes that client, to how many placements that you make from those clients. Look at where you're wasting your time. Look at where you're spending lots of time but making very little money. Okay, analyze that client. Is that client worth working with? So do not be afraid to sack clients. Know your pitch is really important, and it's quite interesting when I speak to consultants often. I say, right, pitch me your business in 2 minutes. Can you pitch me your business in 2 minutes? So I feel absolutely, I now want to carry that conversation on and find out more about what you're doing in the marketplace that is different to everybody else. So if you can pitch your business in 2 minutes and pitch it in a way that it whets the appetite of your client, then you know your pitch. Then you're starting to open a marketplace where people want to talk to you. But if your pitch doesn't whet the appetite of your client, because your pitch is something they've heard 100 times every single week, therefore you need to change your pitch. You need to work on your pitch and develop it constantly. So you need to differentiate your service offerings, okay? And you need to build and review your service offerings with your clients. Clients are getting offered all the time from other agencies on different parts of their service. Find out what that client truly wants and what that client truly needs, and then work with the client to actually expand that offering and change your offering to meet where the client is weak and you are strong, and look where you are weak and the client is strong and where you can amalgamate your pitch. Therefore, you're then making a true tailor-made service to your client and not just another bum on seat service. So pitching on a daily basis is really important, and pitching to a plan is really important. So plan your business pitches. It doesn't care if it takes 5 seconds or 10 minutes. Plan every pitch, so when you know you go on, you know exactly what you're doing. So you're pitching daily, you're pitching in blocks. And I always find you've got to compartmentalize your day and pitch in blocks. There's no point just pitching a client here, then do 4 or 5 candidate calls, then pitch another client. Pitch in blocks so you get to the rhythm of pitching in blocks. You've got to prepare for each call and make sure that each call you know what you want to get from the call. So when you're pitching them, you know the objectives that you want to get, and you know what goals you're trying to succeed from that call. You know what you're trying to move that client towards. So it might be a long-term pitch, it might be a short-term pitch. Understand what that is all about and practice your pitch. When I say practice your pitch, I always think about developing your pitch continually. If you're talking to clients and you'll keep getting locked down at certain parts, then we need to talk about where we are getting locked down. What can we change that stops that? It might be just a couple of words in that sentence needs changing round. It might be just the tone of that sentence. It might be just that sentence needs eradicating completely. But if you continually develop your pitch and look at where you're failing and look at where you're strong, then you'll start to build a better pitch, which will get you more money. And therefore, you need to learn from your failures, learn what's going on. And again, I see too many good seasoned recruiters who repeat the same error time and time again and never learn from that error, hence why they're only filling 2 out of 10 roles that they take on, because they're not learning. If you can learn from your pitch, then it's really important. Therefore, closing hard becomes absolute paramount. If you can close hard constantly and you know how to close a client, therefore you will start to pick up better business. So therefore, overcoming objections is really important. And if you learn how to come over every objection that you come across and have a really good bank of objection overcomes, then again, it means it's easy for you to work with clients and allay their fears of why they should work with you. Too many clients, too many clients I see that you can consultants are working with have 0 terms and conditions signed, have 0 terms and conditions at all, even when you're pitching. So when you pitch, you need to send your terms and conditions to every client that you pitch your business to. You need to make sure that you never work a position without signed terms. How many people are now working positions without signed terms in this marketplace? You might make a placement, but the client hasn't got any terms with you. So are they really going to pay you? Are they really going to think about those things? So having terms is really important now in there. A thing that lots of recruiters don't do is they don't visit their clients on a regular basis. So we need to make sure we're visiting our clients on a regular basis and working from there. So our profiles are really important. You know, what does your profile look like? And when I'm talking profile, I'm talking what does your social media profile look like from there. What we think about is personal, business, and company. So if they logged onto your personal profile, what would they see? If they logged into your business profile, what would you see? If someone Googled you, what would they see? And it's interesting, I've Googled lots of recruiters who I'm working with or work for, etc., etc. And recruitment is great at telling other clients how poor other agencies are. They're great at telling clients that that agency is rubbish, don't work with them, etc. But every agency is saying that. Therefore, what we are doing is actually telling every agency that we're all cowboys. So we need to stop doing that. We need to stop pitching in that manner. However, if the client Googles you and they see you out on the beer, they see you out doing stupid things, etc., etc., then all you're doing is compounding their thought of all cowboys are recruiters. So we need to make sure that that stops. So we need to make sure that our profiles are professional. all the way across the board. Everything we post out is professional. It's uniformed. Every platform is exactly the same, because that's how marketing works. It's all about uniformity. If they see your brand, if they see your logo, then they recognize who you are, and there's instant affinity with that brand straight away. So we need to make sure that we're doing that. We need to make sure your profile is up to date, and therefore that means marketing daily out to your candidate and client base to make sure it is up to date and you're giving out relevant information. Do not underestimate the power of your profile. We've talked about it with our candidates. If your client Googled you, what would they see? But think about what your client is also Googling you. So to publicize, what do you actually publicize? And this is, again, it's a modern world, okay? So you need to engage with your audience on a regular basis, okay? So market to candidates and clients daily. And I'm not talking about marketing jobs. If you start posting jobs out constantly, you're getting rid of probably 90% of the marketplace. There's only 10% of the marketplace at one time is looking for a job, okay, in boom times, okay? So you're negating a massive part of your marketplace. So you need to be posting interesting articles, market information, everyday topics of interest that keep that candidate and that client engaged in what's going on in the marketplace. News appropriate to your marketplace, or news that's appropriate to the world in large. So things like that. Post daily. So subscribe to news feeds so you can use news feeds and post news feeds out, okay? It only takes 5 minutes to make a post and send it out there on LinkedIn. But the power of that post is so important because your candidates and your clients see it daily. Therefore, they're seeing you daily, not just when you call them. They see you on a regular basis, and therefore they see you as something, as an influencer in the marketplace. If you can automate it because it makes it so much simpler, okay? But you need to keep in front of your audience daily. You can't not keep in front of your audience. And at the moment in time, the more you're in front of your audience now, when the market comes back, the better you will be. So it provides you with the market information, and it provides you with leads. So all that market information that you're taking from the news feeds is giving you information that you can go back to your candidates and your clients with, again, enhancing your position within the marketplace. And you can then utilize and lever leads off there and target clients that may be doing something at this moment in time. So partnership is the final thing that we sort of talk about when we're building a marketplace. So you need to connect with influencers in your marketplace. So every market has an influencer, either a key client, a key spokesman. If you're connecting with these people and your clientele see you connecting with these people, then they go, or you go up in their eyes, in esteem. You're dealing with this type of company. So again, on your website, if you're dealing with large corporate blue chip clients, I'd be putting it on your website. I'd be putting it on your sales pitch. Why? Because other people go, if they're working with that client, they must be good. They must be good at what they do. So don't be ashamed about who you're working with. You've got to work hard to keep who you're working with, but use them as an influencer. Tag people into social media. I've been doing this for quite some time, tagging people into social media I want to answer. And quite often they do. They'll answer my social media posts, and then all of a sudden I'll get a string of messages coming through those social media posts because someone sees that person as a key influencer. Okay. So you've got to work to increase your circle of influence in the marketplace. And this is all about marketing. So if a client, you ring a client and it's a cold call, or you ring a candidate that you've never heard of before, what you hope to say is, yes, I've seen your post on the LinkedIn. I've seen your posts on Twitter, on Instagram, because you've created an influence within that marketplace that you are now capitalizing on. So partner with your clients. So what else can you offer your clients outside of recruitment becomes important, okay? Partner with your candidates. What's the candidate journey like? Have you tried to apply for a job through your company? Is it hard to apply for a job? How technically easy is it to apply for a job, or is it hard, which switches candidates off? So what's the candidate's journey like? What's the candidate journey like with the client? Can you improve that improves their process, which means they get a candidate that goes through the process in a smoother way, which means you can make more placements. Partner with your market. So we've talked about meetups. Creating meetups with candidates and clients where either you're presenting or getting a candidate or a client to present some market information is now becoming more and more the norm. The more you do that, the more you'll be seen to be an influencer in your market, the more you'll be seen a partner within your market. Webinars like this, again, if you can have webinars on things that are important, okay, it's really good to be running through your business in that way. So the process is really important, okay? So learn the basics of recruitment really well. I find a lot of recruiters, even billing 200-300K, still stumble over some of the basics. Know your target audience before calling. Plan each day to make sure you know what you're trying to do each day. And I tend not to make a to-do list. I make a success list. So I write the things that I want to succeed at every day, and then I tick them off as I go, rather than a to-do list, because you can get lost in the to-do list. A success list gives you the things that you want to achieve that day that are most likely to be beneficial to you. So create a success list. Build a candidate database of at least 200 candidates that you have met and interviewed, and keep building that database. As candidates become more and more ingrained in your marketplace, okay, then they become more and more passive. Sometimes it's hard to pull those candidates out. Therefore, you keep adding candidates to that database constantly, therefore knowing what's going on. Build a client base. Know who has potential to buy this month, buy in the next 3 months. Know your target clients and know who has big projects on. So if you know who's going to buy this month, you should at least have 10 or 15 clients that you know that can buy this month. In the next 3 months, 20 to 30 clients that could potentially buy from you in that month, in those next 3 months. Do you know, can you name those clients? Can you write them down? Do you know which clients you're targeting and why you're targeting? Are they a cash cow? Are they a cash calf? What type of projects do they have? So that means you should be pitching daily. You can't afford not to pitch daily. And we'll talk about pitching a little bit later on, about why to pitch. We need to ask each candidate for referral. If you get each candidate to refer new candidates to you, then you grow your candidate database. So it's who they know, who else they know, constantly, and then learn something new every day. Every day I pick up something new that I can then start put into a marketplace and learn from. And I learn from my mistakes, and I copy experts. When I was a brand new recruiter, I looked at the people who were billing big money. I looked at what they did well, and I copied them. Absolutely plagiarism, copied what they did and found what worked for me, and then incorporated that things. But every time I go into an office, I listen to what people are doing, and I learn something new every day. And it is about close, control, close, control, close. The more you close, the more you will control your clients. The more you control your clients and candidates in this marketplace, the more you'll make a placement from there. Know what makes you money and what doesn't make you money. If you know what's making you money, build on it. If you see what's stopping you making you money, then stop working it. And that again goes back to sacking clients and working from there. So that's about reviewing, regroup, review, regroup, review, regroup constantly to make sure that you're mowing there. So if you know your numbers, your placement to interview, sorry, your CV to interview ratio, your CV to job ratio, etc., etc. If you know all your numbers, how do you improve your numbers? So that's about training every day to become fitter. If you look at any athlete, they train every day. Where we train occasionally at Recruitment, you should be doing something every day to improve your skills. And that's what I say about writing a success list and not a to-do list. So let's move on then to where we go next. Let's go back into pitch and look at what we pitch when we pitch to our clients, okay? If we learn something new every day and share it personally with our clients, now at this moment, we're going to be pitching into clients. So therefore, we need to pitch something that is about what's going on at the marketplace at the moment. What's talking about the marketplace? Yes, they'll be getting all the same information that we are about COVID-19, but what's actually happening in the marketplace? Who's still recruiting? Who's not recruiting? Who's closing people down? Who's making people redundant, etc. So sharing that information with your clients is really important because it makes them feel part of the community and what's going on. Know your clients at a deeper level. So know who your primary targets are. And this is where we start to sort of think about what's going on. If we know our landscape between niche and retain, then we can start to really build a marketplace. So to target cash cows and cash calves, I ask this question constantly. Do you know who the man is? The money, authority, and need. Now, you might think you're speaking to the man, but if that man has a boss, then you're not speaking to the person that has the money and the authority to the need. So you need to make sure that you're speaking to the person that has the ultimate say-so on everything within the business and recruitment, not just the person that has the opportunity to give you a job. So know the person that has that, because that's key in this marketplace as we start to develop a market beyond where we are now. So you need to develop your sponsor. Who's the sponsor within your business? Who's the person that you're speaking to that is your person that really says, actually, yeah, this guy is really good at recruitment. Actually, I'm going to give you to somebody else and you can help them recruit. Who's passing your name around the marketplace within that client? Who's that person that when they go and meet people at meetups, they're going to say, oh, you should be speaking to this guy. They're a really good recruitment agency. So develop your sponsor and work with your sponsor to make your sponsor do most of your selling for you, because word of mouth is the best form of sale. Know your client spend on recruitment, and this is a really key fact. And I've done 2 seminars this morning. I've had 2 client meetings this morning. I've asked this question of the clients, and they've all said they haven't a clue how much their clients actually spend on recruitment. Because if you don't know how much your client spends on recruitment, how do you know whether you're focusing on the right client or not? You might be saying, well, I'm making 5 placements out of that client and they're making 40 placements a year. So what are you doing to get the other 35? If you don't know they're there because you're not speaking to the client properly, don't understand what their recruitment spend actually is, then you're doing yourself an injustice. If you're working with a client though, and he's only going to say, I'm going to spend X, Y, Z, and you're already getting that amount of money out of that client, then you know you're getting the maximum opportunity. So you know where to focus your client pitching. When you come to sort of look at your marketplace, you can target the clients that actually have the money. So when you start to think about that, you then start to think about the internal threat of business. And we talked about enforcing terms. Someone sent me an email as a question about enforcing terms from there. Okay, if you think about legal can stop you recruiting, finance can stop you recruiting, HR can stop you recruiting, the MD, the CEO can stop you recruiting. So we need to sort of make sure that everybody on there that can potentially stop you recruiting, okay, you know, and you're speaking to, and you're helping them with their job. Because if you know all the internal threats to the marketplace, then you can start to negate them quite easy. But if you don't know that threat's there, then it's a real poor problem that you're going to have. You need to know your competition. What are your competition doing within your client base, and what are they offering to your client? I'm not interested about what fees they're offering. I'm not interested about what service they're offering. If you understand what service they're offering and you can beat their service, then price doesn't become an objective. Price becomes an absolute value add. And I've worked with many clients where they've come to say, oh, HR, I've come to get rid of your service. I fought for your service, even though you're more expensive, because your service is absolutely second to none, and I can't do without your service. So knowing what your competitions are offering and working on them is really important. You need to know your external threats. It's said from ABSCO last year that 30% of every placement made in the UK last year went through an RPO. You then start to think about that and say, right, okay, if it went through an RPO, how many internal recruiters have now cropped up within our business? So that says, where's our low-hanging fruit gone? What else is happening externally? AI. Are the clients going to bring their own internal recruitment in, etc.? You know, what are we doing that's getting rid of the low-hanging fruit that we normally survive off? We need to make sure that we're building this. So once you know that type of information, you can start to develop long-term plans with your clients. So I'm looking at my clients now and I'm thinking, if I was in this marketplace as a recruiter, I'd be going and speaking to my clients, not about recruitment. We're all in this together, Mr. Client. What I want to know is what you're doing with regards to your short-term plan. Every day's changing, so how can I help you with that? So if you're making redundancies or you're putting people on the bench on a furlough, can I help you with that? Can I speak to those candidates, etc.? Anything along those lines. Then you think about a medium plan. What happens when we start to come out of this situation? What are you going to be doing now? So if you're already aware of what their plans are and what their plans are doing, it means that you can start to speak to that client in conjunction with their plans, you can start doing candidate work to make sure that you have a candidate base ready and waiting for when they come online. So we're starting now working hand in glove with the candidates and clients, rather than just leaving them on their own. So developing long-term plans with them and understanding what their recruitment plans are over 2020 and 2021 now becomes really important. If you know what their spend is, now you know where to prioritize your target database canvassing on who is going to be the people that are going to get out of the blocks quickly, or the people that are going to be stumbling out of the blocks because they haven't got a care. Now, if you don't know who they are, then you could be calling all of those clients and not know where to go, and end up all those clients that are stumbling out the blocks, rather than those that are sprinting and know exactly what they're doing. So target your client base now and ask those questions to your clients to find out what the answers are, so you can then start making an absolutely priority list on who you'll be targeting constantly once the market starts to change. If you know all that information and you're using that information, you become sticky to the client. So you need to look at services that complement your standard recruitment model and offer them to clients. You do joint ventures with clients, so meetups with clients, candidate briefings with clients. Anything that you can do with a client that makes that client more reliant on you becomes paramount. If clients are making people redundant, offer them an out service. Offer them an out service. I will come and interview all your candidates that you're making redundant free of charge. It gives you more candidates, and it also puts you in a really good light with the client. It also makes the client looking really good light with the candidates, because they're giving them an out service service. So make sure you're doing joint ventures with your clients that can do that, okay? Make sure you're working with your sponsor. Who can they introduce you to? Not only in the marketplace, but in the business as well. So we need to think twofold, because too often we only think they can introduce me to someone else in the business, but who else in the market do they know? Because they all speak to each other. We need to make sure we capitalize on that and grow that in this marketplace. So pitching now, you need to develop your business pitch around the marketplace now. It's not just a generic recruitment sale. It is now about helping your candidates and your clients get through this current marketplace. So your business pitch to your client is really important, and how you pose that question makes it paramount to the client that they understand that you are looking after their best interests, rather than just trying to scam a job out of them. So look at their best interests and make sure you pitch from there. So you need to be pitching up the line as well as at the level that you're pitching it now. You need to have target clients and define objectives within each client of what you want to achieve. So if you're speaking to somebody, you need to find out whether or not they have a boss. We need to find out how much power they have and what their projects are. We need to pitch across businesses to make sure we're getting our footfall across all parts of the business, to make sure we're developing bigger clients. Can a cash cow become a cash calf? Can a client that you've only placed one or two candidates in suddenly realize that actually that's your area, the pitching two candidates in, but next door they're having 30, 40 placements every year because we haven't pitched across the business? Create lasting relationships with the C-suite, HR, back office. That includes finance and legal. If you create relationships with those type of people and help them do their job, help them improve their service, help them improve what their business looks like to the outside world, then you start to become a true partner. I always talk about lasting relationships is about creating perception for a client. How many candidates do we speak about? Oh, the perception of that client is awful. The perception of that client is really, really good. But if you can change that perception for the client because you're the first person that that candidate meets from that client, okay, then that's really good. So helping HR, C-suite, and back office do that is really important. Speaking to the back office now about payment terms and payments, again, is really important. So we make sure we have that relationship with them. You need to look for issues that you can solve. We can't solve COVID-19, okay? But what we can solve is how they're going to recruit once this crisis is over, to make sure that they are fit and ready to move forward quickly and swiftly, and they have everything in place that makes sure that once they flick the switch, everything's working. And that means you guys working with them to develop that from there. So pitch great candidates to them still. If you've got a brilliant candidate, because candidates are still going to be moving around in this marketplace, candidates are going to be a little bit wary, but in 2008 they were still moving around, in 2000 they were still moving around, in 2006 and 1996, 97 they were still moving around. Even though there was massive economic turmoil, they were still moving around. So you still need to carry on doing the normal things that you would do and pitch really good candidates to your clients. We've talked about creating joint ventures. Now's an opportunity to create great joint ventures online. What an opportunity to speak to your client and say, why don't I create a meetup group with you and other clients that are going through the same thing? We can share information, we can share data, we can share what's going on. How community is that, and how much does that bring you closer to your community in the client base? So creating joint ventures with them now is really important. So if you've been doing meetups in physical, do them electronically. It's really important now that we start to, create that opportunity to build your understanding of the marketplace, build your control of the marketplace, and how you influence the marketplace. Work hard on gaining referrals to new clients. So every candidate you speak to, it's not just about the company they work for, it's the name of the person within the company. If you can get straight to that person now, it's really important. And referrals are normally things that we brush over because we've got a reasonable amount of work. Well, we might not have a reasonable amount of work in a very short period of time. So gaining referrals to, we know we're speaking to more and more people, is now paramount important when we start to come out of this, because the more clients we are speaking to, the more choice we have. The more choice we have, the more opportunity we have to make placements. So it's now pitch daily, grow, replace, grow, maintain, and then grow. Pitching blocks. Make sure we're pitching cash cows and cash calves, because they might be looking at this opportunity now to change their supply list and look for better people within their supply list, people who are more understanding of their needs and what's going on. Now's an opportunity to be selling to those type of clients, and that means refining your service regularly and doing it now. We can't do client visits, but we can certainly do webinars, we can do Zoom meetings, etc., etc., etc. Get on all of those subjects. Your clients now have got time to speak with you. So make sure we're doing regular client meetings now, constantly. So back to profile. So profile now becomes really important, okay? Candidates, you need to make yourself known to candidates now, because candidates are going to be sat at home, which means that you can be speaking to candidates where normally they're sat at work and they don't really want to speak to you. You can now speak to them. So now making yourself known to more candidates is really, really important, okay? Promote your mission to your business, not to your clients, not the success. So what's your mission? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to be the most client-centric, the most candidate-centric, to provide the best candidates to your clients, etc.? It's not about success now. It's about what's right for the marketplace and what's right for the candidates and the clients. So your mission statement might have to change to be in line with that. But by promoting that to clients, you'll get a better buy-in from your clients, okay? So opportunities, make your mission come to life. So if you are bringing really good candidates to your clients, and you're bringing really good opportunities to your clients and really good opportunities to your candidates, you're making your mission come to life. So if someone Googled you, what do they see? They now should be starting to see a brand. You as a person, you become your own brand. Your brand is about success, but it's about being muted in that success, that they see that every time they speak to you, you're dealing with people that they know, you've helped people that you know. If you're really good with your candidates will be selling you in the marketplace. If you're really good at meetups, your clients will be selling you in that marketplace. Success now becomes something that they are talking about, not that you are talking about. And that's all about professionalism. And maintain that professional edge. Now is the biggest time to actually go in and be more professional with your clients, be more consultative with your clients, because now they will understand what you can truly do for them when times are hard, because they're going to have a hard time too. So what can we alleviate for them? Major client joint ventures are really important. So we need to carry on building with our major clients. Your cash cows now, you need to be inside them left, right, and center to understand what's going on and what can you do with them, okay? Do not underestimate the power of your profile. References and referrals. References and referrals go two ways. Clients will reference really good agencies. They will also reference really bad agencies. Clients will refer really good agencies, but they will also take away from you and say, I'll tell you this client, do not work with this client. So they will reverse refer you, so to speak, from there. So now your profile becomes really important when it comes to that word of mouth, because word of mouth now will become even more prolific, because we are now back to where I was in the 90s, where we didn't have the internet, but likewise, we had people all sat in the same room, so I could go to a client and find all the candidates and find all my clients, okay, quite simply. Now everyone's working from home. So now everyone's disparate and everyone's there. So it means we can work from there. You need to enter industry awards to gain kudos and gain accreditations, okay? So people might not be thinking about that, but those awards will still carry on. So if you're offering unique services through these trying times and you get an award for that, what does that say to your candidate base and your client base? How much kudos does that give you? So we're publicizing now again about what we should be doing, publicize. So you should be publicizing your success, but in a very subtle way. Very subtly publicize your success. So testimonials from candidates and clients, named testimonials. I see too many testimonials on people's websites where it's a client from this industry said, I was really great at this. Name the clients. Do not be ashamed to do that. Name the clients. If you've got a good enough relation with your client base, then no recruiter should be able to break that. So name your clients. Joint ventures we've talked about. We need to engage our audience digitally. Target managers in niches. If you're working in niches that you know are going to explode quickly, target those managers very quickly in those niches and engage those audiences digitally every day. Create white papers. If we've got any white paper that's going on in the market, what's happening, etc., what happened before COVID-19 started, and you can create a white paper on that, get it out there so people can see that, okay? Your social conscience. There'll be so many people now doing things socially for the good of the human beings and the good of the world, etc. Promote it, but promote it very carefully. Don't be seen to be this goody-goody two-shoes. Just nice and easy promotion for your social conscience. And develop your employee branding. Your employee branding now will be really important. Some of you might be furloughing or be furloughed. Some clients might want to furlough you, okay? But how they do that is really important. But what it also says to your clients and to your candidates and to other people joining your business, that is really important too. And you're part of that process, whether you like that or not, you're part of that process. Your manager may have a very hard decision to make. Okay, how do you deal with that with your manager from there? So you want to attract your competition, okay, and you want to beat your competition, okay? Knowledge beats ignorance. If you're ignorant about your competition now and ignorant about the marketplace now, then you'll be ignorant forever and you won't survive very long. So partnership now, it becomes working with influence in the market, okay? You need to help people now on their journey. You need to help people with what's going on in the marketplace. You need to interview them and publish them. So if you're talking to really big clients now about what's going on and what they're expecting after COVID-19 and what's happening there, get that interview, tape it, and publish it so people can see that. They can see what's going on. What a great opportunity to promote your client and promote your brand jointly across that. So work on that. Help build your clients, build their circle of influence in the candidate marketplace. So anything that you can do to help to build their circle of influence is really important. So again, if they are talking about furloughing people or making people redundant, how they do that is really important. If they seem to be cold, they will switch off very, very quickly. But if they're doing it in the right way, or even keeping candidates on, great. That needs to be promoted out in the marketplace. Partner with your candidates, okay? Help build their magnetism to clients in your circle of influence. Now, I want you to think about that. If candidates are being released, you need to help them find a new job. So if you know where those clients are, you need to help them become magnetized to those clients. If you've got really good candidates that are still in work and passive, but will move for the right client, you need to influence that candidate about your circle of influence within your clients and what's going on within your client base, because some of those candidates might be working for clients that have treated their candidates awfully and let people go in a very poor way. Now's your opportunity to steal from those candidates and take there. So partner with your market. Okay, we've talked about meetups and webinars. Now's the time to make them even more so. Make them online and get them done properly. So the process to finish. Okay, make your recruitment foundations solid, but add more technical skills. Okay, selling retainers, headhunts, account development now becomes more important. Developing your accounts is paramount to your success when the market turns. Headhunting and selling retainers may enable you to create clients that are unique to you and sticky to you because you're offering them a service that is valuable to them. Know your audience. Always have something that your candidates need. Plan your day. So focus on the 80-20 rule. If the 80-20 rule is 80% of your business comes out of 20% of your clients, okay, think about that 20% of those clients. Look at the 80-20 of those 20%, because you'll find one client is the majority of that client base, candidate base as well. So work on those clients and plan each day accordingly, that you're always talking to the clients that give you the most opportunity to make money. Focus on your candidate database intimately and keep it fresh. We've talked about, and develop your client base daily, and that means canvassing daily and working daily. So know your circle of influence. Make sure you have 10 minimum. Have clients to replace those whose cycles are ending. Know who needs developing to a different level. So have a different 30 clients that you want to develop. Sack clients who do not give you commitment, and build a personal business relationship to last with your clients. This is time and money. So I look at my client base database now. I'd look at the 20% at the bottom end of the time and money. So at this end here, okay, so they give me little money and I spend little time with them, okay. This is what's giving me most of my money. How can I get that into this part of the business? So I need to think about these businesses. I need to review them, what's going on, and ask all the questions that we've talked about. Can I move it into here, or do I just sack this business and move it on? Okay, I want to move people across this line constantly. So the process is very simple. Okay, pitch daily. Urgently versus strategically important. Jobs that come in, are they urgent? If they are, can you fill them? If you can't fill them, go to what's strategically important and work on what's strategically important and find better jobs to fill. Get your sponsors to introduce you. Learn from your mistakes and remain a high biller. Do not get comfortable with your cash cow, because it might stop at any moment in time, as the business has now. Who's next? Who can replace that cash cow? Close control, close yourself. Do not become success blind. And what I mean by that is, too many consultants have a good client base, become success blind, and never refill that client base. So when those clients stop, the boom and bust cycle starts again for them. Review your clients and candidates' activity monthly and quarterly. Look for trends, identify opportunities, and address them early from there. And become the key person of influence within your marketplace. If you become the key person of influence in your marketplace, clients and candidates will come to you looking for advice. That's when you know that your marketing is working. That's when you know that you are a player in the marketplace. So to conclude, product, you must build your product base now. Pitch daily to your market. Your profile needs to be absolutely on point and improved constantly. You need to publicize and use social media. It can build your reputation as well as destroy it. So build it now and build it professionally. Partner with influencers and make your process foolproof and constantly refine it. So that's what I've done all the time to make sure that I've come through recessions. I've always come through recessions in a better state that I went into them, by becoming more and more refined with my recruitment processes and what's going on. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop some questions up. We're up to our hour, but I'm happy to go on for another 5-10 minutes if people have got questions. I hope you found it informative. If you want to follow us, it's LoveWorkLife trainingacademy.com. We have a live online training portal with some free training sessions on there. but also there is the link to the training webinars, which will be running every week. So next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I'll be running another training webinar. So if there's something that you want that webinar on, feel free to drop me a line. You'll get an email after this. So drop me a line to that email address on what you want, and I'm happy to create a webinar for you, because I think at this moment in time, things are changing by the hour and by the day, and therefore if I can create a webinar for you, then that is what's it about. So I'd like to thank the people that have come on, the guys from Edgewell, AVR Solutions, Star, from Hall, David Bespoke, thank you very much, Ignata, 300 North, Helm, Truly Tailored, and everybody else that's joined in. It's been really, really much appreciated. So thank you very much, guys. Say if you've got any questions, drop them in now. I'm getting lots of thank yous. Thank you very much. Okay, I had one question that was about, are terms not enforceable if not signed? It'd be very hard to get them through if they're not signed, especially if the client says, I've never received any terms, because they won't know what their terms are. So you need to make sure that you've sent terms across. It might be inferred that they have signed them by agreeing to the placement. In a court of law, they will still push back, Sasha, on whether or not that has been signed. So I'd make sure your terms are signed, but make sure, at the very minimum, you've sent terms across to your client. Any other questions, guys? Brilliant. Okay. If there's no questions, guys, I'd like to thank you very, very much. It's been, I hope you've appreciated. If you need anything, feel free to give me a call at any time. I'll just make sure my number's around somewhere. You can find me on LinkedIn. As I say, book on for next week's. As soon as I get it up and running, I'll get a webinar up and running for next Wednesday at 1 p.m. So all that leaves to say is thank you very much, guys. Have a super time. Stay fit, stay healthy, and by all means, stay recruiting. Thank you very much.